Are you tired of putting yourself last? Of taking care of everybody else's needs and powering through to meet the next set of impossible standards? In our fast-paced society, we lose touch with our intrinsic worth, with the ability to value ourselves for who we are right now. Instead of living life exhausted, frustrated, and disconnected from your authentic self, maybe it's time to put yourself back in the life you've worked so hard to create. Join radio host and life choreographer Laura Cheadle and learn how to build your dreams and live your sparkle using the 5 steps of flaunt. Find your fetish, laugh out loud, accept unconditionally, navigate the negative, and trust in your truth.
Hello, welcome to Flaunt, Build Your Dreams and Live Your Sparkle. I'm Laura Cheadle, and today we are going to have as a guest a hypnotherapist. Not only a hypnotherapist, because if you've been listening to my show for any period of time, you know that I am a hypnotherapist, but we're going to listen to one of the best hypnotherapists out there who also uses a variety of other modalities, such as NLP, timeline therapy, therapeutic imagery, EFT, and he has written this book and created this process that sounds astounding and that I cannot wait to learn more about. So with that, I would like to welcome to the show Dr. John McGrail. Welcome to my show.
Thank you so much, Laura. It's a delight to be with you today. I appreciate it.
Oh, I am so excited to learn more about this book. By way of introduction, would you like to give the audience a brief description of hypnosis and hypnotherapy from your perspective?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, hypnosis is widely misunderstood in the general population. It is a natural state of consciousness, and the two operative words in that sentence are natural and consciousness. We all do hypnosis on our own every single day. Some examples would be watching a good film or a TV show and you feel emotion. If you're having an experience from one of those, a film or TV show, that means you are in a form of natural hypnosis. The film and TV show is completely an illusion, but your subconscious mind can't tell that. It's incapable of distinguishing between reality and illusion. And so in that state of consciousness, our subconscious mind sort of takes over. And we feel feelings and have experiences when there's nothing there. Reading a good book can do the same thing. Daydreaming is a form of natural hypnosis. And when we go to sleep at night, we're awake, we're aware, we close our eyes, and we go through this transition until we're asleep or unconscious. That's exactly the same transition we go through when we do hypnosis. So that's hypnosis. Thank you. As far as hypnotherapy is concerned, hypnotherapy is using that state of consciousness to help people change the way their mind is working, to create personal change, growth, and transformation. Because most of our behaviors, attitudes, values, beliefs, patterns, good or bad, positive or negative, emanate from our subconscious mind. Hypnosis allows us to communicate with that part of the mind, which is like a 3-year-old child, and help it get out of its own way. Hence the term hypnotherapy. We're doing therapy on the mind using hypnosis as a tool or a facilitator. And that's pretty much it, except for the fact that it is a very powerful and very effective process.
Oh, it is powerful. And I like how you began your description of hypnosis and hypnotherapy by saying a lot of people misunderstand what it is, because everybody has seen that, whatever, it's a TV show or a movie or whatever, with somebody hypnotizing somebody and that person running around and clucking like a chicken or barking like a dog. And I would love to hear your explanation for our listeners as to why that kind of stage hypnosis is different than therapeutic clinical hypnotherapy.
Sure. Well, first of all, the state of consciousness is exactly the same. And it's important to know that there is a very small percentage of the population, about 2% at large, that have the ability of going into that state of consciousness very quickly and very profoundly. Now, a trained stage hypnotist knows how to find those people in the audience. And the first question, if you ever see a hypnosis show, is who wants to come up and play with me? Who wants to have some fun? And there will be a bunch of hands that go up in the crowd. And in that bunch of hands are those people that the hypnotist knows will be delightedly ready to go into a deep state of hypnosis on command. So they do a little testing. Some people stay on stage, some people go back, and then eventually he or she has the 12 or however many people that are going to be part of the show. And by the time that testing is done, these people are already in hypnosis. They don't know it yet, but they've already entered that state of consciousness. So when the hypnotist says, sleep, they just go, oh, thank you, boom. What you have to remember, folks, is that the people in a hypnosis show are in the show because they want to be there. And they do those zany things because they want to be part of the show. But you will never see a hypnotist suggest anything to a member of his or her cadre of participants that would be unseemly, amoral, or in any way antithetical to what they would normally do. So they haven't been taken over. They haven't lost their minds. They just have the ability to go into hypnosis, and they take on the suggestions readily because they want to be part of the show. And that's what makes it so much fun, because most of us say, oh my God, what's wrong with these people? They're crazy. Clearly they've been taken over. Nothing could be further from the truth. So that's my explanation for stage hypnosis. Same state of consciousness, but it's used in a different way. It's the same state of consciousness. It can be used for therapy. It can be used for entertainment. It can be used for just going to sleep.
Right. And I like how you had described it originally, how you can be in a state of hypnosis watching a commercial. And if you're watching a pizza commercial and you enter hypnosis and the suggestion to buy pizza takes root in your mind, you're going to think, oh, I'm going to buy pizza, which is something that you morally, ethically would do. If you are opposed morally and ethically to pizza and you go into a state of hypnosis and they suggest buy pizza, you're morally and ethically opposed to that, and you're probably not going to go buy pizza because nobody's taken over. They have just accessed a deeper portion of your brain where you have less of that filter and that conscious thought. Ooh, what will people think if I buy pizza? Ooh, what about my diet? Ooh, what about?
Right. Precisely. Advertising and the film and television industry are dependent upon hypnosis for success. All commercials are suggesting that you buy their product. You may or may not take that suggestion depending on how you feel about that product or how you feel in a given moment in time. But that's all there is to it. You can take a suggestion or not. You always have the choice. And one of the things that I always tell my clients and my students in seminars or workshops is that you are always conscious, you are always aware, you are always in control of your mind and what's going on. And if you decide that you don't like what's going on, you'll simply open your eyes and get up and walk away. Of course, as a hypnotherapist, it wouldn't be good to have that happen very often because we'd soon be out of business. But it's a very powerful tool for creating change because it gives us access to the part of the mind, the subconscious, that's really controlling most of our behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that leads to kind of my next comment. If a client comes to see you and they say, can you hypnotize me to stop smoking? And you're like, well, yes, I do stop smoking. That's a fantastic thing. But then the client says, but I really have no intention and no desire to stop smoking. Tell the listeners what's going to happen in that case.
I'm going to tell them to call me when they're ready because I can't help them. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's interesting. I get a lot of people that call and say, so-and-so, my boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, or whoever wants me to, say, quit smoking or lose weight or go back to the gym. And they think it'd be really good if I did that. And I say, well, how do you feel about that? And if they say, well, I'm kind of okay. Then I say, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You have to want whatever it is that you're doing hypnotherapy for, or it will essentially have no effect.
Absolutely. So that's kind of the first filter, the first layer that I think is important for our listeners to understand is that it is your choice. Nobody's taken over you. Nobody can make you do something that you don't want to do. However, in the event that you really want to stop smoking or quit biting your nails or quit, or start, hypnosis is amazingly successful.
It is indeed.
Yes. So then when I see your book and you say it's even more successful than hypnosis, I go, whoa, because I know how profoundly powerful hypnosis is, and I am dying to learn more.
Okay. Where should we start?
Let's start with how you developed the synthesis effect.
Well, it's a really interesting story. When I decided to do a PhD in clinical hypnotherapy, first of all, there are very few programs out there. In fact, the program I went through no longer exists. But there came a time after about 3 years of doing research and writing many, many papers on the subject of hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and how it relates to a lot of other techniques. There comes a time when you're doing a PhD that you're supposed to come up with original research and write something original. And I, quite frankly, was completely clueless as to what I could write. I was sitting there saying, now, what do I have to possibly contribute to the world of human behavior? I'm just this little guy doing hypnotherapy, and now what have I done? And it was interesting because I really was mystified as to what I was going to do. And then I don't know how it happened. I like to think it was divine intervention, seriously. One day I was sitting in my office contemplating this because I had to come up with a subject, and I had to figure out a way to write basically a book-length paper on the subject. And I realized that I had 1,000 case files in front of me because I had been in practice for quite a while by that time. And I said, what if we take a look at your case files and go through them and see if we can find some common denominators between the people who did really well really quickly, the people who did okay but maybe took a little longer, and fortunately those very few, and thank God there are very few because I wouldn't be here, those people that didn't do well, see if you can see some common threads. And so that's exactly what I started to do. I started to analyze 1,000 former cases from people with all different issues, but I think as I remember, I focused on smoking cessation, weight loss, fears and phobias, and I don't remember what the fourth one. I focused on 4 issues, and I started really, really looking to see my case notes and whatnot. And sure enough, it didn't take very long until I started seeing some patterns. And the more I saw the patterns, the more I realized that there were certain things that certain people got right away that didn't get right away or didn't get it all. And these patterns became the initial models of what I call my models of synthesis. And then I started incorporating ones that worked more and more into my daily sessions. And sure enough, the efficacy rate went up. Eventually it went up by almost 50%. So that's how the process of synthesis was born. And it really is about combining the conscious, cognitive, logical mind in the way a Western person thinks, Western being modern technology-driven society, which is most of the world, with the ancient wisdom of some of the more indigenous tribal cultures, spiritual techniques, meditative techniques, all more spiritually and subconsciously related, with hypnotherapy as being one of the main tools. And when I combine these things, suddenly people started getting better a lot quicker. So that's how the synthesis process was born. And then I did the statistical analysis, which showed the difference. And that was my thesis, my dissertation, which got me my PhD. And now I started using this all the time. Every session, I started incorporating the models and giving people this, I call it a sort of a 3-part whammy. 1, you create understanding. 2, you show them the tools and how it works. And then 3, you show them how to use the tools. And I had so many clients say, John, you got to write a book about this. This is amazing. I can't believe how good I feel so fast. It's blah, blah, blah. And, I said, yeah, sure. And then I started thinking about it. Well, I wrote the dissertation. That was almost a book. And I thought, what if I took that, made it readable and fun? And that's how the book itself came to be, the synthesis effect. So the effect is using this process to create profound change in your life. And the process is using hypnotherapy, meditative techniques, and these models together, which just makes the whole process happen faster. It's like putting it on steroids.
Wow, that makes sense. Now, for the listeners who might be listening and thinking, oh, meditation and hypnosis, are those the same or are those different, or how does that work? And what if I don't meditate? Would you like to go into that a little bit and explain some of that to people?
I would be delighted. First of all, deep meditation and deep hypnosis feel very similar. And the feeling is really quite pleasant. You're very, very relaxed on a physical level. You're very, very focused on an emotional, mental level. And in meditation, we also tap into the more powerful spiritual level of your consciousness. So they feel a lot alike. The interesting thing is meditation and hypnosis affect different parts of the brain. And in that, we get a magic combination. Hypnosis is very powerful for creating quick change, for changing a habit, not overnight, but almost overnight. And then meditation is very powerful for helping someone maintain that change on a systemic level for a long period of time. So you can see how they go together so well. We have a tool that creates the change and gets the mind to flip the way it's working. And then we have another tool or technique